Welcome to the City of Miramar's Business Connect, where we connect your business to what's important. My name is Johnny Douglas, and I am the host for your show today. Today we will be discussing women on the move as we celebrate women in business. We have our panelists. As panelists today, we have Ms. Gail Birks, CEO of CMA. We also have with us today Ms. ShaKeia Kegler of GovLia, CEO of GovLia. Welcome, ladies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Now, before we begin, I have done some research and homework on America and women in business and women overall, how they travel through the history of America. And when I've done that, I found this, that it was passed by Congress on June 4th, 1919, and ratified on August 18th, 1920. The 19th Amendment granted women the right to vote. Wow. In 1964, the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act passes, prohibiting sex discrimination in employment, and equal employment opportunities commission is created. In 1965, the Supreme Court established the right of married couples. I don't have to use that one. To use contraceptives, but we don't have to use that one.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
you do. Yes, you do. Okay. We got Roe versus Wade on the
exactly
on the table again. They will not get out of a woman's womb. Okay, so you can't.
So going to use, let that one stay.
That one is okay to use.
All right. In 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson signs an executive order prohibiting sex discrimination by government contractors and requiring affirmative action plans for hiring women. That is government contractors. 1978, the Pregnancy Discrimination Act bans employs discrimination against pregnant women. 1980, Paula Hawkins of Florida, a Republican, became the first woman to be elected to the U.S. Senate without following her husband or fathers in jobs. In other words, women had to follow after their fathers or their husbands, but in this case, she did it all on her own stance. Wow. There is an advantage of being a woman in business, and we're going to talk about that as well. In the country, the country with the largest proportion of female businesses is in Africa, Ghana. Mm-hmm. Ghana. There are 252 million women-owned businesses across the world. Wow.
We're the most rapidly growing population of entrepreneurs in the world.
Exactly. So with saying all of that, I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves to our listening audience and tell us a little bit about your business. Start with Gail. No, that hurt, right?
Well, good morning, everyone. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, because I don't know when this is going to air. I'm Gail Birks, and I am the president and CEO, also known as the Chief Efficiency Diva for CMA Enterprise Incorporated. And we have been around for 30 years this past June. It's an exciting milestone for me because I was 30 years old when I started the company. And I left what some might have felt was a budding career in banking, but I was at the top of my game. I was a business developer. I was a negotiator. I was a transformationist of startups, rapidly growing, mature, family-owned, and global enterprises when I was in the banking industry. So I really learned all aspects of business. And prior to that, I'm an alumni of Tennessee State University, where I majored in economics and finance, pledged the beautiful sorority, and you can see the pink Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority incorporated. And but I have always had the entrepreneurial spirit, and so even when I was in corporate America, I was entrepreneurial, which is why I was at the top of my game in the business development, because I understood early it was all about relationships.
Absolutely.
You gotta be able to build relationships in order to build the business, because people do business with people that they trust and people that they like. And I never had to work real hard for my business, because most of my business, even to this day, is on client referral and reputation. So you got to protect your reputation as well. Through CMA, we offer performance and process improvement consulting, which means we help you be more efficient, more effective, and more profitable, and build the morale in your organization. So we provide consulting and advisory services, and we provide training services, not only in the classroom, but we have a full service online platform. So we can compete with the big boys and girls out there with no problem. We don't even blink about that. When someone asks us if we can handle it, we tell them, yeah, because we can. And that, great things come in small packages, so don't let the size fool. And then we also provide executive and entrepreneur coaching to folks who want to go to that next level. And that's what we do. I'm having a whole lot of fun doing it. I run a virtual corporation. We collapse and expand as the projects come to us. And life has been good. We've walked the road and the paths of up and down. We've had the hurdles, but 30 years later, we're still here. I'm a brand new business with a 30-year track record.
Wonderful. Right. Wonderful. So now, what clients are you looking for? Like when you're out and you're advertising and based on what you're saying, you're primed for startup businesses, those who are trying to get their footage in business, and you're good for those who are well established in business and want to create a great morale and working area, especially during this pandemic. So what clients are you really looking for with your business?
Yeah, my clients are pretty much business and industry, big business, government, large nonprofits. We don't tend to go for the small business, okay, unless we're working with an organization that supports the small business community. They bring us in because they pay our fees. We are a higher end consulting firm. So we're more like the Deloitte Touche and the Accentures and the Bearing Points. That's the kind of consulting that we do. We're pretty much contractual. Now, through our online program, we do, a smaller business can come to us through the coaching umbrella that we offer. But we also have, through the online platform, self-directed and online a la carte courses that you can take. So we have made our programs accessible to small businesses, but if they want to have that access to me, then they would have to come through the coaching, because the other consulting piece for a startup could be quite pricey. We'd rather have them go to another agency and keep their money in pocket for that startup mobilization. And I've told a lot of people that over the years. We want you to have mobilization cash. Don't spend it all on me.
Okay. Great. Okay, great. Yeah. Awesome. I like that concept as well, where you're leading and guiding them, even as they begin their business, to be conscious of how you and where you spend your money.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, and ShaKeia, how are you?
I am great.
So tell us a little bit about GovLia. Now, I know you've done some work with our city a little bit, and I kind of know a little bit about it, but I want the audience to get a really, really good, broad perspective on what your business is.
Absolutely. So just my name is ShaKeia. You already said that. And GovLia is a business to government platform. So currently in the government space, there's a lot of opportunity to do business with prime contractors, smaller businesses, and just really be able to collaborate and work on these opportunities. So usually there's a goal for a good faith effort for these bigger contractors to actually do business with smaller corporations. So we say that we are going beyond the good faith effort. So our software platform allows a business to be able to allows a business to be able to create one profile that they can use to get registered, certified, and bid on opportunities with multiple government agencies and prime contractors. So that's where we are now. And of course, we've done some work with the city of Miramar, really just narrow down like our business, not the business model, but more of the focus of the business. So being able to ensure that there are enough diverse suppliers, which is what we've been able to focus on more recently, thanks to the help of the bid program as well. So definitely extremely grateful for that. How I got into this space, I served active duty military where I purchased supplies on behalf of my department. And it was insane. I was spending $400,000 at the age of 18, like managing, and I've never seen this kind of money before in my life. So it really opened my eyes to the opportunity of being able to sell to government agencies, to sell to public institutions, universities and colleges and things like that. So after about 5 years, I wanted to just get out of military and start something new, start something different. And I got a job working at a pharmaceutical company where I learned the opposite side of selling to the government. So it kind of gave me the best of both worlds, having the picture from a procurement perspective, but also as a business owner. And then of course, because as Ms. Gail said, it's kind of one of those things. You're probably always like entrepreneurial, like you're doing small things. Like I remember in the Navy, I purchased a sewing machine. I had no idea how to sew, but when individuals would rank up, I would sew their patches on to their uniform, and I just made some extra money that way. So I was always like entrepreneurial as well, and it just gave me the opportunity to take the information that I learned and be able to simplify it so that people can understand it and really get into this space. So in addition to the actual software platform that we've developed, we've done a lot of outreach work as well. So working with organizations like Siemens Mobility to actually do some outreach work to locate those DBE firms, to actually make sure that, okay, the idea of we couldn't find a qualified or well established firm, it doesn't make sense, like especially not in a place like Florida or California. So our mission is to really just get in and make sure that these opportunities are actually going to businesses. And now we're pushing our software a lot more since, of course, after working with you guys, we were able to upgrade that platform. So that's been a great side of it. Another thing that we've also been doing as well is we'll work with organizations to teach courses on how to get your business prepared to start doing business with the government. So we work with organizations like the Urban League here in Broward County and just ran like courses, master classes that we have one coming up soon with the Center for Black Innovation. So that's pretty much like the scope of the work that we've been doing. And we've only been in business for 3 years, but we've been doing really good in terms of like traction and really just constantly growing, constantly learning. And I think that's one thing that if I can say anything here today, it would be this is a learning process. Like no one knows what starting a business is like. Like even if you have parents who started a business, I didn't have parents who started a business, but even if you did, like that was their experience. So you'll have to learn from your own experience and be kind to yourself in the process. So those are my
I like that. Be kind to yourself in the process, right? Don't beat yourself up when you're learning a curve, right? And guess what? Every failure is a step towards success, right? Because you learn what not to do and things to do that work. So
exactly.
that's pretty much the
There's a
key to a
saying that's like
successful business.
it's
Now,
just as important to know what works than it is to know what does. And I completely agree with that.
now in your area of business where you are with contractor agree contracts and working with client contractors, how do you see is there a growth spurt or any kind for women-owned business in because I know there's a lot of big women who have contracts. They do trades. they are plumbers, they are electricians, they're out there. So you see a growth margin in that industry for women?
So I would say in terms of growth margin, I think because I'm still like getting immersed into the space, I am always shocked to see like women running like huge construction firms, like just to be and literally running them, like not
Yes.
you know the husband with the name and not that
Yeah.
situation, like literally in there running these organizations, and then also having organizations that are tied to women in these spaces as well. So I know there's a national Black organization for women in construction. So like things like that, I'm always shocked, mostly because of the idea of, right, it's that idea or societal beliefs that women aren't in a space or women don't like to get their hand
Right.
or and I love it. So I will say that because I'm getting immersed into submersed into this space, I feel like, yes, I see it's growing. I see it's developing. And then of course, as you continue the conversation about what's available, what opportunities are out there, sometimes, you it doesn't pique someone's interest until you bring it up. It's that out of sight, out of mind concept. Did you know that you can start a development firm? You may not even have to do all of the development work. You can actually go out and your uncle does X, Y, and Z. Like, it's just that type of scenario, being able to understand that you can work together on these things. So I will say yes in a roundabout way.
No, that's great. Good. Okay,
I think
awesome.
that's important. What you just said about you don't have to do it all.
You
If
don't.
you can administer,
Mhm.
if you got good administration skills, and you can bring people together, you don't have to know how to hammer that nail, but you got all the subject matter experts who know how to do that. And I know over the years, I have had conversations with people who had hired the firm, but then I've got my specialists, and they're coming to me asking me questions that my technicians handle. And I have to tell them, I said, the president of Xerox doesn't fix the machine.
Exactly.
He knows who to call to tell them to dispatch people out there to get the machines. That's what I do. I do contract administration, and I do it well. So let me get my technicians on the phone so that we can get your questions answered. So, a lot of times they don't think that you're supposed to be the end all be all. I'm like, no, no. I run the company.
Right.
I have people that do the work.
Right.
So, when they hear small business, they think, okay, well, you the chief bottle washer, the janitor, no, you do the shopping. No. I build the relationship and I collect the check and I make sure you're happy so we can do it all over again and again and again. And so,
Right.
and you have to understand too that there are people who are not rainmakers. ShaKeia and I, we rainmakers. We'll bring it in, but we can also do the work if we need to or have to. But I'd rather be out there making it rain.
Right.
Right.
If I can do that, I'm good because that means I can do 5 or 6 of those and have 5 or 6 teams out there, and I'm still making it rain.
Right.
And a lot of people don't get caught up on, well, I got to share the profits. Share the profits. Share the profits, because if you've got all these different activities going on out here, guess what? There's more profits. And so don't get caught up in that. But then on the other side, and I've had people over the years who have, and this happens a lot with women. I'm talking to the women right now. Don't let your egos get in the way. Women tend to not understand that working in collaboration and working as a team really is okay. You don't have to be out front. Your name, if I could over the years have not been the name on the contract, where all I had to do was just show up, that would have been huge. I've had women who have told me when I offered to bring them into an opportunity that they didn't work this hard to become president, CEO of their own company to be in somebody else's shadow.
Wow.
Yeah, crickets for me
Wow.
too. Crickets for me too.
Wow.
And I'm like,
are you getting
well,
paid?
right. And I'm like, well, okay, seeing that I've never written a check to a supplier that bounced, and these opportunities could be multi-year contracts and quite steady, quite lucrative for all of us, but you don't want to play because you don't want. I said, you know what? Somebody asked me to shadow, I'm gonna shadow you all day long. No matter, and it doesn't matter how long I've been in business or what my reputation is. This ain't my contract. What you need me to do, ShaKeia?
Mm-hmm.
What you need me to do to make you look good so y'all stay in the game. So, ladies in business, understand that it's okay to shadow, regardless of who you are.
So what I'm gathering from your conversation so far from both of you guys is that, first of all, even women in business have to realize their place in their business and what they do in their business and how their face is received in their business. And also, don't be so into yourself that you're not into the workforce that's out there. In other words, it's okay to shadow, because at the end of the day, the thing is that like Gail said, we're gonna make it rain. And I think sometimes we lose. I think sometimes even not just in women in general, but business overall. I think sometimes it becomes like the crabs in the barrel. Like, I'm gonna get mine, and
the scarcity
if you can.
Right.
And instead of having what we could have is a business community, where if the whole business community grows and everybody succeeds, then you got a great business community where we're networking together and everybody's getting their share, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So I hear that conversation that you guys are having, and I want to make it very, very clear for our listening audience that if you're a woman starting a business, make sure, first of all, that you know your place in your business, and also know your business ethics, and know your business guidelines, and know your business, what you can offer, and be honest, be upfront, and let people know this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I'm good at, and I can make this happen. Would that be correct?
Yeah. And one of the things you need to understand is you need to understand the rules of engagement of the companies that you've targeted for doing business. And I'll give you a quick example. We had courted Broward County and ShaKeia. We've had this conversation. For years, I courted Broward County, probably more years than some people have been walking on this earth. And they thought, because they were trying to do this. And I wasn't going there. I was going here. And somebody tried to move me one time too many. So I went straight to the top, which was the Board of County Commissioners. It's got 2 sponsors for the mandated ordinance that became live in June, where there was no official procedure for hiring professional services people, firms. There is one now. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. I didn't give up. And I knew that, 1, there was a lack of diversity. 2, there was a lack of capability and competency in the pool that was being used or not being used by the county. And 3, the fact that people were refusing to meet with me and others when you were procuring with public funds, and I'm a taxpayer. Even more so, I and others are competent businesses. And it goes to your point, Mr. Johnie. you know, of know your spot, and but more so the rules of engagement.
Right.
And when I asked for the rules of engagement and nobody could give them to me, the game was on.
Right.
And I put the word out, but nobody showed up. So I said, okay, I'm going to stand here by myself. And you know what? If anybody gets in this pool, I know I'm getting in this pool. And I'm going to make it happen. Why? Because one, they pissed me off, one. But two, they need to understand that small business is because I intend to be a small business. And then I read my resume at the commission meeting. And the commission resoundingly supported staff at that point. Because see, I spoke to them from the standpoint of somebody who was a corporate director. So I spoke peer to peer. And then I looked at staff to the left and to the right of me. And I said, and staff did nothing.
Wow.
So why is it a firm that lives in your district 33325, Mr. Geller? Go outside of the state of Florida to do business. And you all bring people outside of the state of Florida here to do business. When you got firms like mine and others, well, we now have the official library of professional services and talent development at Broward County. You're welcome. So you have to know that, and it was a risk me stepping up there like that by myself. Because they could have said, well, we will never do business with her. Well, I just got 6 assignments from them. They are working to make sure they do the right thing now, because they know that there are people like me who are not afraid to step to the podium. So as a woman, you have to know that you have to find your voice.
Yes.
And you cannot lose your voice out here in entrepreneurship. Your biggest challenge is not so much going to be men. Your biggest challenge, and I speak for Gail, my biggest challenge has been other women.
You know what? My last panelist, they're mirroring what you're saying.
Yeah.
They mirror what you said. And I asked them a question. I said, is there a difference in being a woman of confidence or a woman of intimidation? And you can find yourself intimidating woman to the point to where you can't work together and you can't get the job done. But one thing I do like that you said, Gail, and also you like that you said, ShaKeia, was that with the both of you and what women are doing today is you guys are tearing down and moving these barriers out of your way. Especially when you're able to have the boldness to go to the powers and make a point and make a valid point and get the job done, which is a barrier removal, and it opens up opportunities for women in business who want to start a business even today. So one of the things of celebrating women this week is the fact that your contributions that you've made to the business community is phenomenal, and how it's opened doors for a lot. But our millennial women today are really, really taking advantage of it, especially with technology. You know, technology with your Zoom, you can shop online, you can sell online. It is just like a phenomenal thing for millennials. Now, you know, in my day, there was none of this. You know, so it was mostly footwork. You had to get out there, pound the pavement, door to door. You had to schedule meetings. If they didn't show up, you had to schedule another meeting. You had to go sit in the lobby, wait hours to talk to someone. That's how it was. But now it's like, because of what you've done, Gail, because of what you're doing, ShaKeia, it makes it so much easier now for women to get out there and make a difference in the business community. And I see the face of the business community changing because of it. So for that, we celebrate you guys so much for that. My next point I want to get to, and it is not only women in business, but women who operate and run departments in corporations as well. Um, is there still a challenge in the boardroom?
Yes.
Because we have this man's world.
Yeah.
There's a challenge in the boardroom when you're trying to position yourself and position the company to grow and go a different direction. Are you silenced? Are you ignored? Is that still a thing that's going on, or have women kind of overcome
It still exists, having sat in the boardroom for over 24 years, in the corporate boardroom.
it?
It is still very white. It is still very male. They define diversity as letting white women in.
Exactly.
And they tend to come with the same perceptions that the white men have, which makes it very difficult for women that look like me. I've had people tell me, not only to my face, that nobody would ever take my resume seriously, even with 24 years of corporate board experience, public and private, because I did not come from the executive suite of a Fortune 50 or 100 company. I said, you do know that I advise those kind of people, right? Those people sit there because of people like me. I advise those kind of people that I oversaw and owned a $1 billion company that we sold for a profit. So the excuses are still being made as to not being able to find qualified candidates. And if you don't fit that box, that, meaning corporate, certain title. And I said, well, what about, I always tell people, well, what about successful entrepreneurs who bring that experience? And that business and industry now has to be more entrepreneurial. And if you've got someone who has never been out there, running a division is one thing, but running a company is a whole different ballgame. But you still have traditionalists in those seats. And like I said, I sat in that seat for years, and I was the only woman, the only African American. And I had to demand the respect. I had to demand the audible, because initially they thought I was just there because it checked the box. And then they realized that I brought value. So you even when you bring value, the color/gender tends to still be a factor in decision making, to bringing more of us into the board. It's going to happen. It's going to change. I think the environment that we're in right now, thank you, George Floyd, is going to make some things change. But I still see the perceptions of, well, if you don't come from corporate, they don't realize that we're probably more corporate than the corporate, from the entrepreneurial side, because we're fearless. And we understand how to manage through difficult times. You get somebody in corporate. We had some difficult times, and I saw my, quote, corporate colleagues shrivel. They shriveled. And those of us who were board members, who were entrepreneurs, we stepped to the occasion. So it's changed, but it hasn't.
Now, coming from the construction part of it, do you find the same kind of scenarios there? You being a woman with your business and you're with government contracts and you're trying to level the playing field for businesses and for between prime contractors and smaller contractors. Do you find that by you being who you are, being the woman of this business, finding a little bit more challenging to bring the point across or what you're trying to make, or you think it's overshadowed because you are a woman and they're not listening, or how does that work for you? How does that look? What challenges are
Wow. Okay, that's a really good question.
there?
I'll go back just a little bit before to, one of the issues that have like one of my biggest issues or people who've been in my way have been myself mostly. So I will say I have always felt as if I had a few things like working in my benefit, but also working against me as well.
Mm,
So in addition to being a woman, being a Black woman, I'm also very young, right? So most of the time when I'm having conversations with people, it's diminished due to all three of those aspects of what I can offer. But it could also be brought up based off of that, right? Maybe, it's taken as we need some new blood, some fresh experience, someone who's had a different lived experience as well. So I will say like I've seen it being accepted mostly because I can bring all of that stuff to the platter. And then of course people love, I'm a Navy background, so I can leverage that any aspect. People love to
Yeah.
pretend to be patriotic, right? So that's another benefit that I have. Like I'm laying all of my cards out. This is
right,
what I have. I can communicate with the people that you're saying that you can't locate. I can find people like me. I grew up around people like me. I know how to talk to people like me. So it's easier for me. So I feel like they've been more receptive to what I'm saying because everything that I bring to the table, not just one. And like I said, any card that you have, lay it out. Like
Yeah.
lay every card to your benefit. And that's exactly what I do. Like I make sure that anytime I come in, I'm telling my story from the very beginning to where I am right now. And that works for me. So I'll say that I have had issues with some people. And like I said, that like I'm gonna go with Gail on this one when she said it's in the government space, right? In that government space, you have people who've had their jobs, their position, or done the things that they've done. And this could also be in corporate space as well. I've done a little bit of work with corporate, but I don't really consider like the construction firms like corporate, like a Google or those type of corporates. But you have people in those spaces who are protective of their position, protective of the work that they're doing. So in some like way, you have to like kind of roundabout let them know I'm not here to step on your toes, right? I'm here to work with you. We do this together. Like, that conversation. So
I don't want
really
a job.
that relationship, yeah, like I don't want your job. I promise. I do not want your
I'm
job.
not here. I'm here to help you. I need to take a job.
But being able to have that conversation, I think it's made it a lot easier to be able to smooth over and get people to like really listen to what you have to say. And then sometimes, it's also there will be times when you just have people who don't want to listen. And like Elle said, you got to be persistent, but also knowing when it's time to chill, to take care of
Yeah.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
So,
Cut your losses.
yeah, like you have to know when to protect you, like protect your peace, because it'll drive you crazy if you constantly going back and asking, this person for support. You're asking them for, X, Y, Z. You're asking them for something or saying, how can I support you? Right? Even offering. Sometimes people turn down offers. So you have to know when it's time for you to like also step back, do what you have to do because that opportunity is going to come back around. And that's
Yeah.
always, when I tell you, it's always happened to me. Like even now, people, when I first started a business, and I know how it is, I first started a business, I started reaching out to individuals who were in particular spaces, right? That whole idea of surround yourself around people you want to be like, or you aspire to be like. And I agree with that to a certain extent. I've also like end up coming up with a new phrase of it. Also, well, surround yourself around people who are grinders, who are hustlers, who are hungry, just like you. So that way you can all eat together and you can continue to
Yeah.
grow and do that stuff together. So that's one point. But to back to like the original question, I was just saying like make sure you take that time back for yourself because every time for me that opportunity in the beginning when I started. You know, now where I am 3 years later, people are like, "You still here? Like, I can't believe you're still doing this. Now you want to work with me. Now, you know, so everything. You, what is it? Sometimes you have to ruffle your feathers a little bit. Like, let them know, like, it's cool. I didn't need you. I wanted to work with you. I wanted you, but I didn't need you. So make sure, you know, be confident in yourself. Like you said, a woman of confidence. Always be that woman of confidence, and don't let anybody intimidate you, because at the end of the day, what's for you is gonna be for you regardless. Like, so that's the way I see it. So that's why I don't have problems with people, because I don't pay that much attention to people, to be honest with you. Like, if it doesn't service, like, if it doesn't service what I'm doing, I'm just like, all right, cool. I mean, we can be cool. I will always support, you know, X, Y, and Z, but there's nothing that it doesn't intimidate me at all. Like, so
And you have to do that. I'm so glad you said that, because I love it. I love it, because you got to be able to show people, look, you know, you're just a pit stop along the journey.
Right.
And I have those kind of situations all the time. And we took a client out of a deep hole a few years back, where they had put out a lot of money, and the people took their money, didn't give them what they needed, but just totally put a bad feel on that. And that was the Lean Six Sigma that we do, because I'm a Lean Master practitioner. And came in, set them up, put the culture into the organization. And then the woman who had assumed the department came back and told her boss she didn't want to continue with me, even though we were professional, effective, got the results. And she told him she didn't want to work with me because I was too bossy. I said,
not the B word.
what? I said, you mean effective? And he said, no, she told him you were too bossy for her. I'm like, oh my God, I never think And I said, did we not get it done? Did I not say please several times? Did we not change the culture? Did we not save you millions of dollars? And did we not get everybody finished at the same time? And he said, yes, 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 and yes. I said, well, how is it that I'm bossy? How does that translate to bossy? Well, she didn't have leadership skills. And she evidently resented the fact that there was somebody else now who knew a little bit more than she did. And she was in a position where she could jam me up, and she did. Cost me a big contract. But here's what you do, ladies and gentlemen. You put them into your social media trains, and we're always feeding. Y'all see me on social media now, I'm always feeding. This woman is all over my LinkedIn pages learning from me. She is all over, and I always go in and check to see who is checking in or viewing or commenting. This woman is all over my pages now, feeding from my post. I'm like, see, you could have had that first day in direct.
Right.
Like you try to sneak in the back door through the kitchen window, but you still feeding from me. So they feed, but it takes their maturity. And one thing you have to understand as women of color, when we come in those leadership positions, confident of what we bring. And I love the fact that you talked about your value proposition, because we're real clear about our value proposition.
All the time.
But people are not accustomed to seeing us in these kind of leadership roles. And that's uncomfortable. That's not uncomfortable for us.
I can imagine.
It's uncomfortable for them. And unfortunately, it does cost us opportunities because of people being uncomfortable in their own skin when it comes to us who are comfortable in ours. I know that sounds confusing, but that's a reality that we live. And I love ShaKeira's attitude. You just got to keep going.
Right.
And show them, look, you know, there are those who will say yes.
Right.
And do. You know, I've got a client in Polk County that loved them some Gail. And when people hear Polk County, you would think that Gail would be the last one to be over there loved, right? They love them some Polk County Gail, okay? So when you get people who understand your value proposition and see the benefit of integrating it into their strategic plan and mission, they could be in New York City and not get it. They can be in Miami, Florida, Fort Lauderdale and not get it. So you know, don't rest your focus or perception on a particular region. That individual who can influence the yes for you gets it, go for it. And then let others know that they missed it. That they missed it.
You know what I'm noticing is that there, and like you guys are saying here, is that there will be speed bumps along the way.
Absolutely.
But I've come up with this: don't let your speed bump become your stop sign.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Right.
Love it.
Because you're going to have speed bumps, but if your speed bump becomes your stop sign, then you need to reevaluate why you're in business in the first place. Because speed bumps may slow you down, but it doesn't stop you from moving forward. Right. Stop signs stop you.
Yeah. And nobody ever said that this was going to be easy out here. It is not easy out here. It is not. But you've got to be able to surround yourself with people who, you know, they say, what is it? Your inner circle reflects your net worth. So if everybody around you is broke, you're gonna be broke too. But if you surround yourself with people and you don't have to talk to them every day, but you know that they are in your universe, and they have that same focus, they have that same mission, they got that same billion dollar attitude that you aspire to have, own, and grow. That's where you'll be. You can't hang around broke folk. Broke folk
to get rich, right?
Broke folk will be broke forever.
My next question for you guys is for women out there, because we're in a pandemic, and everybody at this point in time now, although it's not the best situation that we're in, but it's also a chance for women and for everyone to reevaluate what they're doing, to re-educate what they need to do, and to reinvent themselves for what is about to happen. Because the world hasn't stopped because of the pandemic. We're figuring out a way to work through the pandemic. So having said that, with women out there trying to reinvent themselves, trying to even start up a business, what 3 principles do you have for them that will help them from the ground building up to getting to launching it and becoming an enjoyable for?
Okay.
What 3 guiding principles that you can think of? If I'm starting a business, I'm coming here and says, okay, you guys you're very successful in your business. What 3 guiding points that help you that may be able to help me as I start my business?
Absolutely. Okay, I'll start here. So 3 guiding principles. One would be protective of your business, but don't be overprotective, right? You got to understand that you have to be flexible because things are going to constantly change. Like we said before, this is a learning process and you're going to learn from everyone. You're going to learn from the people, your clients, you're going to learn from your customers, you're going to learn from the individuals you're working with, and you're also going to learn like basically from yourself as well. Like it's a constant learning process. So be protective, but don't be overprotective. And when I say be protective, I mean, I don't mean like, oh, I'm not going to tell anybody about my ideas, like, that covering your answer space. No, when I say be protective, that means vetting everyone, being able to make sure that when you're working with people, if they say they have these credentials, look them up. Don't just take people's word for things. Like when it comes down to things like that. So be protective, but not overprotective to where you're not sharing what you're doing. Because if you can't share the work that you're doing, how would anyone ever know? Right. So be protective, but don't be overprotective. I kind of said it in that one as well, but being flexible, being able to understand, when it's time to change, or being flexible in terms of when it's time to, build, grow, scale back, like understanding it's going to continuously change. So be flexible. Um, and I think, can I do four? Just because like this
Go
one
ahead,
for,
go ahead, go ahead.
um, so I said it earlier as well. Be kind to yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up in this process. No one knows everything about being a business owner. So for that aspect, be kind to yourself. Be confident in the work that you're doing, and don't shy away from opportunities. But also, don't overload yourself. Don't just say yes to everything that comes your way. Um, know your boundaries, know your scope of work, know, the mission of your organization and what you're doing. And don't just be accepting opportunities as they come. Like some opportunities could be good opportunities, and make sure you're analyzing it for that. But don't just say yes to everything that comes your way that doesn't fit in line with the work that you're doing. People want to work with businesses who are focused, who are specialized in certain areas, and you want to be able to say that's exactly what you do. You can cross like reference things, but don't do too much. Don't do too much. Just leave it at that. So that's my four. I can say.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay.
I'm gonna do my three too. I'm gonna do my three too. That's like my 3-year-old granddaughter. I'm gonna do three.
It reminds me of my nephew when he was younger, and he would try to communicate with us. Maybe about 3 years old, he would try to say yes or no. He says, "Are you okay?" Yes.
Okay.
He was no. So sorry. So you can do 4, 3.
All right, I got my three. I'm sorry. I just if you're starting out, regardless of how many years, we're all starting out as of March 2020. Okay, we're all brand new businesses, and you have got to have a presence on the internet and on the internet highway. You have got to have a choose. You don't have to be on all the social medias, but you got to be on the right social media platforms. Um, for us, LinkedIn is the platform for me. LinkedIn and Twitter, because that's where my decision makers. Those are where my people are. So choose, where are your people? Where are they sitting? Where are you truly trying to do business, or where are you playing? So have that platform, have an interactive website. One, I can't, because people are looking to be entertained. We finally found a social media consultant that's working with us, that is helping to make sure, I'm not a millennial, I'm a baby boomer. And so there are certain things that attract the millennials. And I've been working with a group of millennials that have given me that feedback to understand what's going to trigger your yes, what's going to trigger your attention. So talk to people and work with people that can help you build that presence. You need it. You need it. Be sure that you have diverse income streams. We've got a wholesale division, which is pretty much where I'm set most of the time. We have the retail division, we have the online division. And in the online division, we're setting up we do have things in place, but we're enhancing our residual income streams, where all you got to do is click and I get a notice that the cash register has run. You know, so what are your residual income streams? So that you can go on vacation and do that personal self-care time and the cash register is still working. Have your plan, have a plan that evolves. Know what your break even is. You know, everybody, when they start up, they always have somebody who does all of these budgets and schedules. That's BS. Understand. Can I say that? Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. That's BS, people. That's BS. You know, understand what your break even is. How many units of service hours or products do I need to sell to break even before I start making a profit? If you know that, you'll be good to go. I know my break even for the number that I want to hit. You know, so what's the number you want to hit? What is your break even? And then don't be afraid to get feedback. People, oh my gosh, people don't like you to tell them that they're not perfect and that the baby isn't ugly. Sometimes you gotta know that the baby is ugly. Okay, you can't put you can't buy cute enough clothes to pretty that baby up. The baby is ugly. Okay, so understand that it is okay to get feedback that is not good, because you know what, that makes you better.
Absolutely.
And fail. Sam Walton of Sam's and Walmart said he failed more times than he succeeded. Walt Disney said he failed more times than he succeeded. But it was that one time.
At one time, he didn't give up.
One time. It'll take one time to get it right. And then it's on, and the rest is history. So don't be afraid to fail. If you are, you don't need to be in business. You don't. So those are my 3.
I really want to thank you. I really want to thank you guys for being on this podcast as we celebrate Women in Business Week. Um, as far as I'm concerned, me being out there doing the job I do for the city as business development coordinator, and I go out and I meet businesses in the city of Miramar, especially in the 33023 area, and I get to know and build relationships with businesses. I celebrate businesses and women in business all year round because it's our business world, and it's so. And this not get it twisted here, if I can say that.
Yeah.
It's the small mom and pop businesses, right along with the corporate businesses that keep America running well. So we do everything we can within the city of Miramar to make sure that we celebrate our businesses, not just on a special week, but all year round. And so I'm so glad that you guys have made a stop by on my podcast this morning. I know I got you out there early, but I'm so glad I did, because you made my morning for me. And I'm hoping the listening audience got a lot out of what you said today, because all thoughts aside, I'm having fun. The real meat and potatoes here is that women are striving in the business community. You're making great strides of success, and you're changing the face of the game, and it's in a positive way. So we thank you and we honor you this day.
Thank you.
We have to catch up, girl.
Yes, we do. I'm working on the elections right now, but after November 3rd, we got some work to do.
See, networking. See that? See?
Well, we started, and then we all took vacation on it. We need to catch up again. We need to reconnect.
So, the City of Miramar Business Connect. My name is Johnny Douglas. Welcome and stay connected.